So within this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step when to buy and when to sell the stock symbol IRNT. This is really going to set you up with an actionable trading plan on when to be long biased, when to buy, where to set your stop loss, where to set your price target. It's also going to set you up with an actionable plan on when to be short biased, when not to be buying, when to be short selling, when to be buying puts, right? So this is going to walk you through when to be long biased, when to get the call options, when to be short biased, when to get the put options. Let's get right into this, guys. Make sure you smash that like button. This stock, I've noticed, has a pattern, has a trend, and it has been working with this gap close reversal to fill this gap above strategy phenomenally. Throughout its short history, it has been working with this strategy phenomenally. I'm going to walk you through some examples here, and then we're going to get into the exact trading plan. So for those of you who are subscribed to this channel, you are well aware of the strategy that we're consistently using to make money within the stock market, which is going to be called a gap close reversal to fill the gap above. So what does that mean? That means when you see a stock have a gap up, for example, IRNT has a massive gap up, opens up much higher than it previously closes, and then you see right here, there's a gap that's waiting to fill the previous closing price at 1666. Once it closes that gap, it consolidates, it forms bullish trend reversal candlesticks, it starts to bounce, key confirmations to buy, to play for that gap that's waiting to fill above at 1959. Then you could see once it fills that gap, it has a reversal, starts to have a pullback, right? So that's the strategy, that's what is that we're looking for in some of the basics, that in terms of the key levels and stuff like that. But guys, let's get right into the upcoming play. So I kind of showed you what it is in terms of IRNT. It tends to have gap close reversals. When it closes its gap, meaning it has a reversal. Here's another phenomenal example. Right here, IRNT stock gaps up, hits the previous closing price, closes the gap, has a reversal, starts to explode, right? So here's what you're going to want to watch for into tomorrow. IRNT stock is currently down 14% in after hours, which is going to be a gift in terms of a buying opportunity. Now, the question is, when are we going to be buying this stock? Because we have two gaps that are waiting to fill. So obviously, the best one would be the most oversold one right here at $23.32 in terms of buying. That'd be the best one, right? So here's what you're going to want to look for in terms of the pre-market and in terms of market open. So here's what you need to understand. IRNT, since it's down 14% in after hours, it is on track to have, its first big red day tomorrow. So in terms of what can potentially happen on its first big red day, it can do pretty much one of these two things. It can do something like this, where it just closes weak at its lows, or it can close this gap, close the key gap right here at 32.15, start to have a reversal and then explode, right? So what I want you to focus on for tomorrow, focus on these key levels, these three levels right here. I'm going to show you these key levels. This is where you need to be trading at. This is going to tell you whether to be short biased, whether to be long biased, right? So we obviously know the best price in terms of using this strategy is going to be for this gap to fill at 23.32, right? However, it might close this gap right here, have a reversal, and then explode back to 40. It's a possibility, right? So the question is, do we buy here or do we buy here? So you want to pay attention to the reaction. Now keep in mind, it is going to have its first big red day, and it's not ideal to buy into a first big red day. It's really not. So in terms of this, you're much better off waiting for this one. I'm going to set my price alerts. I have my alerts set, as you could see. My alerts are set. So once these gaps fills, I'm going to be alerted in real time, and I'm going to be prepared to trade this strategy. But this is what you're going to want to look for. See how it reacts. Once it hits 32.13, if it turns into a support, meaning the stock is consolidating, it's bouncing, it's forming bullish confirmations, bullish trend reversal candlesticks, whatever you want to stack and add on in terms of indicators, whether that's the VWAP, the MACD, the EMA, whatever it is that you use for your bullish trend reversal, indicators. What you want to look for is a trend reversal at this level. So if this cracks straight through, say it hits that gap, it fills the gap, it cracks straight through, then you do not buy it. You wait for the reaction. At some point, it's going to bounce. And if the high of that bounce, when it bounces, if it's turning this key gap level right here at $32 into a resistance level at or lower than that level, then it's bearish and it's going to get annihilated, and it's really going to start to fill this gap that is waiting to fill, which is going to be the best price to buy. And it's going to be that key gap close reversal level you're going to want to be trading at. So just remember, pay attention to the reaction. If you see some valid support confirmations right around here, then buy it. And you want to get in no higher than $33 once you see those bullish reactions. Your goal is to get filled as close as possible to this level once you see your bullish confirmations, your validation to confirm that that trend reversal is, on track to happen, right? And then you're using a tight stop loss. Keep your stop loss at or slightly below the key gap level, because there's huge downside potential. We're entering trades that have huge upside potential with very little downside potential. In terms of your upside potential for the short term, if this turns into a support level, and it starts to have a reversal, it's going to be on track to explode back to this resistance level right here towards $41 a share. Huge upside potential. Now keep it with very little downside potential. Set your mental stop loss at 31, because what I'm telling you is, guys, if this 32 level turns into resistance, it's going to get annihilated. This is going to be on track to go to 23 within 1 to 2 days if that were to happen. So pay attention to the key level. Pay attention to the key reactions. You see this turn into a resistance level, it's looking bearish. Then if you like, you can buy some puts. In terms of, when to buy after that, wait for this gap to fill. It's the best one. In terms of when to buy, if that 32 turns into resistance level, wait for this one to fill. Look for your bullish confirmations, buy the dip, and then watch it explode back towards this $32 range, right? So that is what you need to look for, what you need to focus on in terms of tomorrow. 32 is going to be your key level. If it acts as a resistance level, it is going to get crushed and start to fill this gap below. If it acts as a support level, it's going to be pushing back towards 41. Be extremely careful in terms of buying, because it is going to be the first red day. So, if I see a negative reaction, I will gladly, look to short or look to get some puts and play for this gap to fill below. And then once I see a bullish reaction right around here, I'll gladly get some calls and buy the stock. With this particular stock, from what I've seen so far, it tends to fill the gaps, and you do have that gap that's waiting to fill below right here. And there has been times where it has major crashes in terms of, its major crashes. In terms of here, it went from 18 all the way down to 11. In terms of here, it went from $30 all the way down to 16. So it has had its 40% plus pullbacks from its all-time highs. But one thing to keep in mind is as well, if you see that bullish confirmation at 32, give it a shot with a tight stop loss, because this was at $60 in the pre-market. It's so oversold. It's literally down, it's going to be down tomorrow, 50% from its all-time highs in pre-market. So it's worth giving it a shot. Just make sure you use tight stop losses and understand how to adapt. Cut your losses quickly. We're trading at the best levels, but if it goes against us, we're getting out very, very quickly. Because instead of that huge upside move we're looking for, it's going to be a huge downside move. That's how the strategy works. It works both ways. Do not get stuck bag holding these stocks. Get filled at your best prices, set your tight stops, and then ride the momentum on the way ride the momentum on the way up. That's how you got to do it, guys. Do not hold on to these stocks. They're going to fill. They're going to close their gaps. Play it smart. Trade how we're trading. I see so many people just bag holding these stocks. Don't do it. Play smart. Trade smart. So yeah, guys, that is what is that we're going to be looking for on IRNT stock tomorrow, the key reaction, see how this reacts. As of now, the intraday chart is looking extremely bearish. But like I said, if you see it react as a support level, buy with a tight stop loss. Say you get stopped out, then you could switch sides. You can get a put, play for the gap to fill below, right? You can always switch sides. You have to adapt. Once you close out for a small loss, you can switch sides. Learn how to adapt, learn how to trade, guys. That is going to be my lesson on IRNT stock.